big cervical vertebrae, right? So each vertebra of a giraffe's neck is about 11 inches in length.
That's crazy.
And there's 7 of them. And you put them all together, and you got about a 6-foot-long neck.
Yes.
But they also have really long legs, too, that are also about 6 feet long.
Yeah. So 6-foot-long legs, 6-foot-long neck.
Right.
And you have giraffes, female, because they still have other body parts. Females can grow up to 14 feet, weigh about 1,500 pounds, and males can grow up to 18 feet tall and weigh about 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, for males it's like 5.5 meters tall and 1,360 kilograms. So
That's
they're big.
Amazing.
They're big animals, but they're also known as like gentle giants too. Like they're not very violent animals, as we see.
True. Although, if you're into the sweet giraffe, do not look up videos of male giraffes fighting.
I know, it's disturbing to watch.
It is very disturbing, and you just want to think like, oh man, you guys should just always like each other.
Like, why do friends fight?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, part of being tall like this, it presents some amazing evolutionary traits and some challenges that thankfully the giraffe has overcome. They have, let's talk about their nerve cells. If you've got a neck that long, everything is just stretched out. So for instance, their recurrent laryngeal nerve, which this activates their larynx, helps them in swallowing, because they're going to need a little help swallowing down that long neck. That thing is 15 feet long in itself, because it starts in the brain, goes down the neck, and then loops back up to the throat.
Right, and we have one of those too, and it's actually pointed to as proof that it's evolution, not creation, that accounts for us, because it's just such a poor workaround.
Yeah.
But it's 15 feet long in giraffes.
Crazy.
Right, so since it's a nerve fiber, nerve fibers are made of bundled nerve cells. So that means that if you separated these things, it'd be made up of 15-foot-long cells.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It really is.
So, is that your fact of the show?
There's about 50 of those in here, I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So if you've ever been to a wildlife refuge, that's the word I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Or a zoo, let's say, and you've seen a giraffe up close and personal, the one thing that you will notice, and some zoos will even have times of day where you can feed the giraffes, which is pretty amazing. But the first thing you'll probably notice, aside from their neck when they get up face to face, is, aside from their friendly eyes, is the size of their tongue when they go licking stuff. And they have a very active tongue. That thing's always moving around, it seems like. But these tongues are almost 2 feet long. They can be 21 inches in length.
Yes, and not only are they long, they're also prehensile. They have the ability to grasp things, as we'll see later, right?
That's right.
So they have enormous tongues. They have feet that are about a foot across, about
Crazy.
a third of a meter across,
Yeah.
right? And their hearts, Chuck.
I think this might be the fact of the show for me.
Well, then take it.
Well, their hearts, if you talk about a giraffe as a big-hearted animal, you can say that in every sense of the word. Because the heart of a giraffe is 2 feet long and weighs about 25 pounds, which, Mika, for you, that's 11 kilograms.
That's right. So they have this huge heart. And you're like, well, of course they have a huge heart, you dummy. It's a huge animal.
Yeah.
That's true, but prepare for this. If you did, based on body mass, proportionately, a giraffe's organs, like its heart or its lungs that can take in an enormous amount of air at one time.
12 gallons.
Right. They're average.
Yeah.
They're just about average in size, right? Mm-hmm. So the giraffe is actually faced with a couple of issues here, right?
Sure.
If its heart is proportionately speaking normal size, but its neck is way longer than other mammals, it has an issue. And its legs are way longer than other animals. It has a secondary issue, right? So you would think, well, it needs a huge heart. And it's, again, though, its heart is not proportionately up to the task. So there's been other adaptations that the giraffe underwent over time to allow for it to not, say, faint when it suddenly lifts its head up after drinking water, or for blood not to collect and pool in its legs.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So the way this works is the heart of a giraffe is really, really thick. So it has a very thick wall, and so that means it can pump blood at a super high pressure, about 5 times that of a human heart.
Yeah.
So that sort of solves that problem. It gets blood going where it needs to go as effectively as possible. And then they have a really tough coat and a tough hide. And the way this article put it is it sort of acts like a compression sock, but around the whole body. So that basically just helps the blood counteract the gravity of pumping all the way up that long neck to the brain.
Right, exactly. It keeps it from just like, it keeps it also from collecting or pooling in places it shouldn't. It just keeps everything running smoothly.
Yeah, like those big feet.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting stuff, right?
Agreed.
And you were talking about the coat as well. One thing I saw in research is that the giraffe's coat is unique to the individual, like our fingerprints or iris print is.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't really thought about, which makes total sense, you know? Giraffes are all unique individual little flowers.
Snowflakes, if you will.
Sure.
Just good, giant, liberal mammals. Mika, you can ask your dad about that joke.
Yeah.
So when you look at a giraffe, you might think like, well, yeah, giraffes, they all just sort of have maybe it's unique, but the patterns are all basically the same. Not exactly true. Depending on where the giraffe lives and what they eat, they're going to have a different sort of pattern going on, and then each one is unique unto itself.
Right.
So in